A toy like this is not going to sit around in store for too long. If you see this on the pegs, don't think you're going to pick it up at a later time when it's a better price, because that's the way I want it. Collector, collector, collector. That's something you don't see on YouTube every day. Rarer now in the way YouTube pulls my stuff apart. I think it looks actually better without that stupid cape. I came across some fairly hefty empty peg syndrome going on. It wasn't very nice to look at. God, these days on YouTube, you gotta just be so careful what you say. And I had the whole place to myself. It was the strangest feeling to be up there. I haven't photoshopped any people out of the photographs. You might see a mannequin or two in store. Before we get going with this video, let me tell the stupid YouTube algorithm I'm an adult who collects these toys. My video will be talking to parents, and I'm not trying to induce children to come along to my video and watch this video. I know in the end that the stupid algorithm is going to see this video as a children's video. I'm going to fight that, and of course, as usual, I'm going to lose. Welcome to the new YouTube. Okay, let's do it. I don't even know why I'm bothering doing this sort of video on YouTube these days. It's such a strange sight now. Anyway, this is the Diamond Anniversary Thomas. This was one of the first ones that I found. It was a very hard toy to find initially, but now there's plenty on the pegs. It has got damaged boxing there. I did have a giggle on the back here. These are basically the peg sitters in a sense of this range, and that made me laugh. One of the most desirable toys has got, in a sense, some of the least desirable ones on the back. I mean, Harold's okay, but I think people picking up Nia and Ashmere, I guarantee these will always be peg sitters, and Percy is always a peg sitter. But anyway, we'll open this up, and there's actually something a little bit strange going on with these that I've noticed. This is, in a sense, the old packaging now, but yeah, it's quite curious to see how some of these are a little bit different to others, and that's maybe something you want to look out for. Okay. I thought to myself when these were first in store, I thought, crikeys, maybe I'm never going to get, you know, any more than this one. But no, I think the virus, or 2020, I'll just say 2020 has been an unusual year, and I think that didn't help. Okay, I have the toy in my hand. Okay, the old infamous in-hand appraisal. It is a very spectacular looking toy. It is very diamondy in the way it's been painted up. Just take note of the colour here. Okay, it's got a little bit of detail on the buffers there. It's got your CGI Thomas face. The chrome work there is nice, as in the blue chrome. You know, it is a very, very nice looking toy. It's got some nice detail on the back as well, and interesting, the buffers on the back are also done. And what I like about this is it's got that transparency thing going on through the underneath, so you could sort of play funny things with this at night by putting the torch up through the underneath. And the underneath part is transparent, but I like anything like that. But it is a spectacular toy celebrating the 75th anniversary of Thomas and Friends, and if I was you, I'd be grabbing a few of these, well, to play with, and also put some underneath your bed. Just going back a step on the blister pack here, it is an interesting blister pack versus a normal Thomas for the fact that it's got a cutaway section in this area here, and this item here is something that you can peel off and maybe keep as a bit of a keepsake when you package this Thomas or any of these 75th anniversary toys. Just very carefully get this off, making sure you don't bend it up. If you just bend the cardboard away, you should be able to get this off fairly neat. And I think it's a nice little thing to keep and stick wherever you want to stick and make fancy. On the idea of sticking it on something that I use all the time and I enjoy, my Dalek mug, which is featured in a number of videos, I'm going to stick this 75th anniversary beautiful gold thing right here. It is metallic and it will bend, and it's still very sticky. Okay, so yeah, hunky-dory. There you go. This is a vast improvement to this mug, even though it was a very nice looking mug. But wow, every time I have a drink from this, guess what I'm going to be reminded of? Yeah, Thomas's 75th anniversary. Stunning. Now, to get back on track here, what I've noticed with the Diamond Thomases is there's actually a couple of little variations going on, and I was able to pick up another one, and I really wished I had not unboxed the second one, and it's actually almost a totally different shade of blue across the top. It's going to be a little bit hard to see because they're going to be flaring and glaring, but the one that I unboxed, which is the one I'm shaking there, is a lighter blue versus the other one that I've grabbed. It is actually very noticeable when you look at it in real life. I'm not sure how it's coming through on camera. I remember the Thomas Wood, the unpainted version, there was often darker and lighter versions of that, but this looks like a totally different shade of blue, this one being much lighter than this one here. So I am hoping that's coming through on camera. It is a little bit tricky sometimes to get this to work, especially when this thing's reflecting in the way that it is, but hey, both of those Thomases there are absolutely stunning to look at. These toys, they run on the Trackmaster track, which has been around for some time now, and I thought, wow, how am I going to show this, because they're not motorized, they're a push-along toy, and I thought, oh, it's always going to be a bit silly if I've got my hand in shot showing how wonderful these look when they're moving along and the wheels are spinning. And I just thought, well, no, maybe I'll develop something that can push these along, and introducing, well, it hasn't got a name yet, but maybe you can give this a name. It's part troublesome truck, as in the push along version. It's also part Trackmaster Diesel, and it's going to help me show this toy here moving along. Yes, I had to do some custom work. Actually, before I connect it up, let me just show you what I think's missing from the Trackmaster trains now. It's okay to couple these onto the back, and you'll see Mattel doing that, and it's always like a drag along thing. But it might be nice to possibly have some sort of coupling on the front, and let me just show you why. So you can do this, okay? It will push along, but it's not a very nice way the toy marries up with the one in front. Okay, I suppose you could add another one on the front here. This one's the one with the darker colours, and I haven't connected it up and coupled it. Maybe I should, or else we're going to have a train wreck, aren't we? But I just thought to myself, wow, I need some way to show these toys without having the distraction of something like that they're always going to be looking at. Okay, so you see the dilemma that I was up against. Let me get back to the nameless thing that's helping me. Okay, with the assistance of that completely nameless odd thing that I've created, I'll get it turned on, and I'll just get Thomas at the right speed here without too much jiggling and jangling, and we can marvel. No, we're not marveling at that there. Let me just catch up here. We're marveling at the Diamond Thomas. Man, I've lost touch here. I haven't done this for quite some time. There we are. And we get to see what the toy looks like, wheels spinning and moving down the track. Remembering, it's not a powered toy. Very important to explain that. But it's a very, very, very nice looking toy. I could get really exciting and do something like this, but I better not get too exciting, because I know the system's going to want to come and smack me down if I start getting exciting like that. I really have lost touch with this, and if I put the brakes on, the nameless thing will take off like a rocket, pushing the beautiful Diamond Thomas. I suppose we all want a nameless thing now. Okay, just getting the Diamond Thomas back in the shot there. Yeah, nice thing. And I'll just grab the nameless thing and turn it off, and it'll all come to a grinding halt. Yeah, okay. The gamble with this is, do you go out and you buy a whole stack of them and put them away thinking it's going to increase in value like that 2014 Golden Thomas? Or is this Thomas just going to pass by and become like another sort of toy that's not really worth that much more in the future? It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Because I'm a Thomas collector, of course, I get excited when I see new things. These are some of the things that I've just seen appear in store. I've only got one of each. There was basically no others on the pegs, but what was very, very nice to see, and I haven't seen this for a long time, we'll go to some pictures, is the Thomas area in some stores is expanding. It's now a full aisle where it used to be maybe a couple of cells, and I think that's a very, very good sign. It has been a long time since I've seen the Thomas area take over a whole aisle. Mind you, at another retailer that I go to, the Thomas area is shrunk to only a portion of a cell. Okay, so it's got very, very tiny. It has been a very strange year. Okay, I can't say in any way 2020 has been normal. So as for what hits the shops versus what's available online, you know, I might be saying to you, you might be best off just going straight online to get this stuff, because it's been very ratty finding stuff in store. We are in that lead up to Christmas. I did go back to the store which had the complete aisle of Thomas stuff. Now, I am starting to see empty pegs. Now, that can be interpreted as a good thing, but what isn't good is the stock isn't being replenished, okay? So, how many times have I showed empty pegs? But I think this is a very positive sign. At least people are picking up the toys. There is a positive aspect to seeing empty pegs. Okay, I've only got one of these, and I'm having trouble finding any more. I'm actually not going to unbox this one out of this here, because it may be the only one that I find. Now, notice here we've got new packaging. There's a number of changes here. It just says James Original. Just remember James Original. The picture here is actually the James Original that you see in the blister here. Gone is the word push along. It just says metal engine. I'm just going to call this the metal engine James Original. Okay. On the back, it's radically different, and I think maybe we've had a step backwards here, because there used to be pictures of engines and things, and it enticed you to see what else was available. I don't think there's anything there that is going to excite a child. Remembering this is made for young children, mind you, people like me collect this stuff as well. Cough, cough, YouTube algorithm. And something fell over in the back there. Anyway, this is an improvement. I think it pops better in store. It does stand out. I mean, anything that's new and fresh tends to stand out. Your eyes go to it as soon as something's different. To look at the previous packaging, and it is radically different. Okay, so this is an original James. Noticing they've reversed that on the new packaging. This is when it said Trackmaster. We knew these as push-alongs. It had a red James here. I always said this was a card era James, and people would argue with me, oh no, it's not like that. And I used to say, if you saw these, you picked them up. Many people have later commented, you picked this toy up, don't pull it out of its blister. Okay, I still say these are card errors. Mind you, there are lots of them. Okay, it does say metal engine there. I think metal engine's the thing that's carried along. Remembering these are not powered. A lot of people were confused when they saw Trackmaster there, but this is not a powered toy. It's basically a push along. Okay, it's like a next gen take and play, or next gen Thomas Adventures. Thomas Adventures sort of vaporized very quick. What I liked about this packaging was, okay, it's nice and bright on the back. You get an enticement of other things to purchase. Okay, it's a 2019 toy. The other one's a 2020. And of course, I had a little picture up here showing that you could connect it to a Trackmaster motorized for lots and lots of fun. In one of the Thomas merchandise videos that I've done, I do talk about the relationship of the wheel size versus the body of the engine size, and I sort of struggle with that. What they've done with this series of toys is they've made the wheels bigger, and a lot of the toys start to look very similar when you have very similar wheel environments going on. But I think the packaging it's a major change in the positive on that side. But I think really it's when you flip it over and you look what's going on the other side is where, I mean, that does nothing for me, but that there does excite me. Just on the idea of card errors, there's another one here. I can now sell it on eBay as mint in box, can't I? Well, there's a diamond Thomas there. What do you see up here? Ordinary Thomas. Okay, now I think that's wrong. Okay, so you saw these little inconsistencies going on quite a bit. Troublesome truck. Okay, well, that's what the troublesome truck looks like in the blister, but then that's what you saw up there, and I think everyone really wanted to see what was in the picture there. Troublesome trucks. I think what's wrong with this is that yellow piece through there. Let's say if that was a dull colour, I would have said that's okay. But let's say if this was like a two-tone grey, I think people would have loved that, but the way it is there, nah, that's really not doing it for me. I will unpackage this original James, although it's called James Original now. And yeah, I think if you do see these in store or available online, please purchase one. Maybe something like this, buy one to play with and maybe put a couple under the bed as a future investment. It's a better return than gold from what I see in the prices on eBay. Okay, I think this is the same as the next version of packaging as well. That's funny, I haven't played with these in the hand much because I'm a collector, Mr. YouTube. I normally don't unbox stuff. Let's take a closer look. Okay, an infamous in-hand appraisal. Look, if you're a James fan, I dare say you're going to be very happy. Was it The Adventure Begins when we sort of went down the original James route? I'm really not happy about the way they do the wheels. That is being a Thomas collector, looking at other toys from previous times. I just think it makes them all look a little bit generic. We lost the cabin detail area there some time back. There used to be times when these toys were, I'll just say, a little bit more elaborate. It's got a CGI face. It'd be nice if we had buffer details, but hey, we've got used to not having those. It is nice and shiny and spanky, and if you are a little person and not a toy collector like me, you're going to be extremely happy. The tender looks fine and simple. Okay, looks a bit cramped if anything. And of course, with these, we've got this sort of coupling system that will connect to Trackmaster, motorized, or whatever it's called now. The ones that are powered. Remembering this is not a powered toy, but I've got a magical way to make it look like it's powered. As before, the thing with no name can come along and assist me here and show us the beauty of James original James going along here. Will it work? This is the big question. Ah, yes, it is just working. The tender is getting pushed up a bit, but we get an idea of what the toy looks like. If it was running down the Trackmaster tracks, if you've given it a big shove with your hand, remembering this is not a powered toy. I must always remind the viewers this is not powered. I suppose everyone wants to have a thing with no name now. We want our push-alongs, metal engines, to be able to move along by themselves. Yeah, I think I've seen enough of that, and I'll come along and capture the thing with no name. Yes, I'm sort of not exactly sure. Yeah, now I've been playing with this a bit. Yeah, I really don't know what to say. Look, I suppose it's a fairly inexpensive toy, and it's nicely made, and you know it's not going to fall apart. And I'm trying to think of some nice positive things to say. And yeah, if you like nice shiny things like this, well, it's a perfect thing to have in your toy collection or adult collection. Okay, quite an interesting find, this one. It's called Rail Rocket James. I'm just going to call it metal engine. It doesn't say push along anywhere here. Okay, the artwork up here is just red James. Okay, because it's different to what you see in the blister. And then, is this an error? Have they crossed the T's and dotted the I's correctly here? It's got a little mask on. It's very Minis-esque in a sense in the way it's been detailed up. It's got a cape or something there. It's a little bit strange. But then again, sometimes a little bit strange can work in nice ways. On the back here, boring, so we won't go there. But I am going to take this out of its packaging, and it might be dangerous because I may not find another one, although I'm hoping to get another one. Remember, YouTube algorithm, I'm a toy collector, okay, and there'll be other collectors like me. And it's funny, I look at my YouTube stats on many of my Thomas videos, and well, it says that people like in their 20s, 30s, 40s are watching the videos. They're the biggest audience. Yet every time I challenge YouTube when they pull videos apart on me, I never win. Although I've got so used to not winning, it's not funny. I've just got so used to being beaten by the system. Anyway, let's take a closer look at that. Okay, time for the infamous in-hand appraisal. It is a nice, shiny, spanky toy. It is very Minis-esque, as I'll say. Rocket James, yeah, look, you look at this, you go, yeah, that's nice. It's got a cape which is very large. In fact, the cape comes off. I'm glad I took that out of the box because now I've worked out something. I wonder, and I'll just let me spin around our James original. Hope I set it around the right way. Look, I wonder if it's going to fit onto that because that's the way I want it. There you go. I've just improved that toy 1000% because it's broken up the black on it. Okay, actually we'll keep it like that. I'm doing it my way, I don't care what you say, okay? I think it looks actually better without that stupid cape. Okay, speaking as a toy collector, YouTube algorithm, a person who's collected a lot of these toys and had lots to say about them. It is a spectacular toy. If you're a little one, you'd be jumping out of your nappy. Okay, it is a very, very nice looking toy. It's nice and shiny. I like the way Mattel present toys and their finishing on these. Like, I am scratching to find positive things to say here, because I'm trying not to go back in time, because if you compare this to what was coming earlier, then we can get into some very, very interesting conversations, can't we? But we're not going to go there. Yeah, it just says James underneath. James also on the tender. Yeah, let's give it a bit of a spin. And like before, I will connect up the thing that's got no name that will assist us to power the non-powered toy to make it look like it's doing something special. Okay, here we go. Starting up close up. Yeah, looks spiffo. Okay, I've just widened the camera a bit here and just very carefully keeping it in frame there. It does look very nice. If this was being pushed along your train, or if you had a train behind pushing it, or maybe a Thomas Trackmaster pulling it, which is the way it works. Yeah, it is a very spectacular looking thing, unlike the thing with no name. Looks better when it's in focus. I'm just trying to get a little shot there of the masked face. He's like a bank robber. Bank robber James. If you're a toy collector, it might excite you, but tell you what, if you're a little one and you're a James fan, you're going to be intoxicated. There's an adult word for this video. That'll throw the algorithm a real curveball. And we'll let James zoom on like this. Watch this. Whooshka! It's quite nice. It is probably nicer for me if it was left in bobble as a collectible thing. If you see it in store, definitely pick this up. And I dare say if you're online, click and collect. And I'm not doing commercials for Mattel because, well, they never speak to me. I'm just setting up a challenge for the thing with no name. Let's see how many toys it can push along here. Remembering these are not powered toys, but the thing with no name is. Okay, I've got my Rocket James there without his cape. I've got the James original with the cape. That's what we want to see. And I've got the beautiful, stunning Diamond Thomas leading the pack. And I can now say this, that's something you don't see on YouTube every day. Rarer now in the way YouTube pulls my stuff apart. The thing with no name forever. I'll tell you what, that Diamond Thomas, pretty powerful thing. Look what it can pull along. Quite amazing. Okay, this one here, and I really do not want to take this out of the blister, but I am going to. It's called a Rocket Thomas. It's reminding me very much of Thomas and the Jet Engine, if you remember that old classic clanger from bygone era. Nah, we're not going there now. And again, the artwork up here is just a plain Thomas, although what we see in here sort of reminds me of something you see in the Thomas Minis world. It is spectacular. I am a Thomas fan and I very much like the look of it. The rolling stock on the Rocket Thomas, well, it looks like a jet engine. It's got a turbine look at the front there. We will see it clearer when it is pulled out of the blister. It's got a little bit of a flame and it's got sort of like what looks like two missile things on the side. It's about to start World War III. It is a very interesting looking piece, and I was tempted to go back and get the earlier version of this out, but I think it's nice just to maybe not go backwards in time and just think of things of today. I really am hoping I can find more of these. Man, I tell you what, that Hot Wheels Thomas the Tank, man, I spent the better part of 2020 wasting my time looking through so many stores, and in a time when I shouldn't be going to stores. Fruitless. I might pull a video on all the things that I saw along the way. I met some wonderful Hot Wheels collectors. They were fantastic people to talk to. They gave me an insight into collecting Hot Wheels like I have not had before. And this looks pretty nice, actually. And wow, now I get a better look at this here. Anyway, the Hot Wheels collectors are really, really nice people, and they did assist me a little bit in trying to find more Hot Wheels Thomases, but it didn't really help. Ooh, yeah. It's got a nice feel to it, I tell you. It's got a very nice feel. Let's take a closer look. Okay, in hand appraisal time. Yeah, it's looking very minis-like. I love the flames down the side. Across the top, I can't see anything special. Across the back, there's nothing. It looks like it's only just got a flame pattern going down the side, but it is very nice looking. Being a Thomas collector, I like things that are a little bit different. It's just got a normal Thomas. What are these called now? Metal Thomas, whatever they're called. Okay, yeah, it's nice. It's nice for the fact it hasn't been overdone and made look ridiculous. Okay, they could have gone crazy with this, but yeah, I like that. As for the piece of rolling stock, which is probably the surprise in this duo, this is nice as well, and it is vastly different to previous renderings of toys like this, you know, thinking back to the Thomas and the jet engine style ones, but although this is a rocket Thomas. Oh, look at that. Nice and flexible flame. Well, flame is flexible. The redback spider certainly know that. This reminds me back of when you had toys and it would... Oh, I've got to be careful what I say now, because the algorithm's going to say, oh, what's he talking about? We've just heard a word we don't like. You know, there used to be a time when you would press a button and things like that would fire out in toy form. Okay? God, these days on YouTube, you've got to just be so careful what you say. It's just unbelievable the way this place has changed. But getting back on track, this is actually a nice piece. It'd be a very, very desirable toy, and if you were a little one and you're a parent and you're thinking, how do I impress my little one, and it's that emotional thing, because buying toys for children, it's an emotional thing for the parent, it's also an emotional thing for the child. I'll tell you what, this double here is pulling all the right emotional strings in my books. I should show this, because you will ask, the cloak that was on the Rocket James, whatever it was, do you think, can I put it on this Thomas here? And unfortunately, it doesn't go on, because on the James there's actually a little lip on each side, and maybe if I grab James very quickly, you can see that lip there. It's very hard to see because it's all black, but it's the lip that actually makes the funny little cape that I don't like stick on. Okay, at least it can be taken off, which I think is very good, but unfortunately it doesn't go on to the wonderful flaming rocket Thomas. Oh, I should show this, because this is how this toy is played with. It's pushed along. Okay, there's no motor in this, there's no jet propulsion coming from this, although children will believe there is. And it would be a great toy to have flying down track and just going through the air and crashing. That's the way I'll be playing with it. But I've developed a thing with no name, and I'll grab that and connect it up to this Thomas here, and we'll be on our way just like this, without a train wreck, hopefully. Okay, we'll look at it in a wide angle first. Yeah, looks very nice, doesn't it? Looks extremely nice. Let me go in closer. Yes, I'm giving this one definite thumbs up. I like this Thomas a lot. The flames look great on him, and I keep thinking jet engine, but the rocket motor there looks very nice as well. It's actually a bit of a surprise package, this duo. I'd be very much saying, if you see this in store on the pegs or online, a definite pick up, grab, if you can put something under the bed, because in time, I mean, things like this can appreciate, you know, tenfold in no time. That's what I see going on all the time. It's a very, very eye-catching toy. It's very nice. Look at it. It'd be a lot of fun to play with. It'd be a really, really nice toy to collect if you're a Thomas toy collector, hoping the YouTube algorithm clearly hears what I'm saying there. I would suspect that a toy like this is not going to sit around in store for too long. If you see this on the pegs, don't think you're going to pick it up at a later time when it's a better price. I've seen these toys on the pegs for too long now, and I know things like this tend not to hang around for too long. It's a very nice Thomas toy. It's ticking a lot of the important boxes to tick, and I just hope I can go back to store and pick some of these up mint in box for my Thomas collection. Hey, I like to have stuff out of box, but I also like to have a selection of them pristine mint in box. And for the ultimate challenge for the thing with no name, let me see if I can get all this going in a completely stunning line of Thomas, what are they, metal somethings. Okay, well there's the Diamond Anniversary Thomas at the front there, and I'll try to let them just go on through without me gabbering on. You can just hear the wheels on the rails. It's a nice bunch of Thomas toys, I tell you, very, very nice. And I'll just come along here and I'll just grab the thing with no name and I'll show you very quickly how I did the front coupling on this, which is not normal. Before I get into the thing with no name, I'd like to show you some pictures of what's going on in Sydney, Australia during the weird year of 2020. I had to go into the city to go to a court. I couldn't get out of this. I hadn't been into the city for the whole of 2020. I'm trying to be good and stay at home, and I was shocked with what I saw. Well, should I say I was shocked with what I didn't see. There was very few people around town. I'm not going to show all of the thousands of photos that I took this day, but I thought to myself I can go into some of the major toy department areas in the nice stores in the city, and I had the whole place to myself. It was the strangest feeling to be up there. The staff were quite keen to talk to me because there was no one around. They were actually very happy to have other people in the store. I haven't photoshopped any people out of the photographs. You might see a mannequin or two in store. And it's this time of year when stores are preparing for Christmas. It's when you sometimes see new stock. And the shops in town are often making sure they look absolutely spectacular. Loaded with stock, you know, blah, blah, blah. But what I'd like to do is show my audience overseas, this is what happens when you live on an island and your island has been cut off from the rest of the world, so there's no more tourists coming here. And the government in Australia has been fairly strict and rigid in the way it tells us what we can and can't do without getting too political. Of course, it's trumpeted this is a victory. Look at us versus the rest of the world. Maybe I could explain it like this. I've never seen so many businesses that have gone bust. I've never heard of so many people unemployed. And if I go to other shopping centres around the suburbs, all you really often see is boarded up businesses where the shop's gone bust. And apparently that's a victory. Anyway, I thought to myself, I'll go to a shopping centre, which is a little bit further away than I normally go to get another Rail Rocket James and a jet engine Thomas or whatever it's called. And I thought to myself, I'll just go in there and I'll find something else in the peg. But I came across some fairly hefty empty peg syndrome going on. It wasn't very nice to look at. And this is one of those stores that have pulled the Thomas area down to a portion of a cell. While I was there, I also had a look at the Hot Wheels area because I'm still after that Thomas Hot Wheels. And shock, horror, surprise, the Hot Wheels area was cleaned out. Empty peggerage everywhere. And as I said before, empty pegs can say to you something is extremely popular. One thing that the search for the Hot Wheels Thomas the Tank has taught me, Hot Wheels little toy cars are extremely popular. The thing with no name that assisted me in this video to make non-powered toys look like they were powered is a core of a Trackmaster Diesel. And what I've done is I've altered the front section here, and it's best if I show you first the core of a Thomas. I'll just put that part down and I can show here something. I'll go in closer. On the front of a Trackmaster 2, there's no coupling, there's just a screw that holds the top on. Now, I cut through this section here just behind the screw. Now, just take note here, it is hollow down through here. This is going to help in making the thing with no name. And just taking a look underneath, we can see it's got a nice solid section. So the mission was to add a coupler, and it had to be in a line with a push-along. I couldn't have the coupler up too high or too low, and I found the coupler had to be down in this section here, and I thought if this has got a bar on it, I thought if I drill a hole through here, maybe I can somehow get this component to slide into the front here, and there's enough plastic there to make it all work and funky. So let me introduce the thing with no name, and maybe you can see what's been taken away if I show a picture like that. Being all black, it's going to be a little bit harder to see, and I was lucky I pulled it off on the first attempt. Sometimes you've got to have a go at something and it fails, and you learn by your fail, and then you come along and you can strike gold. Let me go in closer on this. So you can see the section that I've sawed off, because the screw used to be through here, and I drilled a hole through that section there, going all the way through, being very careful, because as I was drilling here, it was actually very close to the wheels. I didn't want to mark up the wheels. I wanted to keep it a nice clean runner. And then I ended up with something like this, and I remember getting a little file, something like this, and I was always tidying up and seeing what I had here. And I thought to myself initially, I thought I'll have to glue all this up and it's going to be a rock solid piece. But then when I got my little coupler piece, and I had to be down low here because that was the alignment to marry up with the metal engines or take-alongs, whatever they're called. And then what I found was I could actually just clip that in there, and it moves around a bit, and that was a finished item. Getting that hole in the right spot is important. And I had to drill that hole to clear the bit of plastic through here, if that makes any sense. It's funny, I was going to do a video on it and show you how it's done, but you know, my video with the Superfast Thomas got demonetized and I can't get that back. And I think it's a section where I show how to make the toy. That is the part that falls over. But then again, YouTube/Google never ever tell you why a video fails, and I think that's been the absolute savage crime against the creators on this site. Because this was the first one I did, I learned something. Maybe the next time I do this, I'll do it a little bit differently. I wouldn't cut away the section underneath here. I had this thought that I could present this underneath in a sense and clip it up, but then I found I could just introduce it in the front here, and it was working fine. It's like anything. Once you do that initial one, it teaches you about the next one you're going to do. The troublesome truck face is purely there because that's where the hook came from. And when I pulled the troublesome truck apart, drilled out the rivets, the face component comes off really nicely. I covered up the battery area to stop any brand rage that goes on and ridiculous comments related to that. When people see a certain brand, they start going wacky. But nevertheless, the thing with no name really assisted me to make toys that can't move by themselves look like they were doing something a little bit special. Maybe I will come along and make this a rigid coupling. There's no need for it to come in and out. Maybe fill this up with glue, and I was sort of looking at the way this connected to the toys in this video, and I think being rigid is probably going to be the go. There's no need for it to be moving about, and I often wondered, why did they have the loose coupling on the front here? Maybe there's a reason why, because the back coupling was rigid. If you remember back to Thomas Adventures, they were rigid couplings, but they did spin. Okay, so yeah, maybe it's because of the roller coaster of if this is connected to, you know, Trackmaster motorized, or Trackmaster 2 as we used to say. But I thought, well, you know, the chances of really me showing too many toys on my channel anymore, well, you know, YouTube's a totally different animal now. I don't think we're going to ever really go there too often now. Bye-bye.